People might be lucky enough to see Lisa Frankenstein and Baghead hit cinemas this month. Check out my 40 anticipated movies of 2024 video for more info on that. But what horror and thriller can you watch from home streaming this month? Well, let's get started. As always, these are listed in the comments below. This month kicks off with Dario Argento Panico. This documentary offers a unique glimpse into the mind of this horror master. It starts as he retreats from the outside world to revisit the very settings that inspired his work, as he crafts his latest script and talks about his process. The film has plenty of other interviews as well, including those from Del Toro and Gaspar Noé. If you're a big Argento fan, you won't want to miss this one. This film did hit limited selected theaters on January 31st, but starts streaming on Shudder from the 2nd. Departing Seniors is a comedy horror about high school student Javier, who doesn't exactly fit in with the popular kids, but he may be the only one who can save them, after an incident unlocks visions allowing him to foresee glimpses of shocking murders at his school right before they happen. Now it's up to him to save the lives of those who tormented his. If you're into goofy fun slashers, this one might be right up your alley. Check out Departing Seniors from the 13th of February. Okay, true crime fans, listen up. They Called Him Mostly Harmless is a new disturbing crime documentary that will be released this month as a Max original. The film is the true story of a hiker who was found dead in the middle of the wilderness in Florida. The man couldn't be identified at the time, but 2 years later, internet sleuths have become obsessed with finding the truth and they crack the case. But now his identity triggers more questions as multiple hikers claim to have met him. I don't know what to expect for this one, but I love a true crime documentary and I'll be checking this one out from the 8th. New horror mystery Cell Phone is the story of a grieving woman who begins to see disturbing images on her cell phone about her future. Now it's up to her to put the pieces of the puzzle together and figure out what's going on before danger closes in. I'm not too sure about this one. The trailer visually looks great, but the acting is a little bit shaky. I'm not sure if this is just how the trailer has been put together though. It looks like a twisted ride, but is it gonna have enough original content to keep us on the edge of our seats? The film stars Whitney Rose Pine and Malcolm McDowell. It hits streaming platforms on the 13th. This next one, horror thriller Double Blind, is a true nightmare. The film is about what happens when an experimental drug trial goes horribly wrong, pushing 7 young test subjects to be kept awake for days while experiencing terrifying side effects of the experimental drug. This really reminds me of the creepypasta of the Russian sleep experiment. I don't know if any of you picked that up. Although this one isn't basically about just a sleeping experiment, it does have a drug trial, so I'm excited to see how this pans out. The film visually from the trailer looks stunning. The film was a favorite during its festival runs, but will it be as effective at home? Let's find out. It's streaming from the 13th. This next one is very interesting. Midnight Peep Show is a new edgy horror where we follow a man who ends up at a strange peep show, which offers patrons a tailor-made experience wrapped around their deepest desires, fears, and sins. And it's just our luck because tonight it welcomes a businessman who has a unique connection to an extreme fantasy website on the dark web. This twisted fantasy is bound to cross all of the lines. Let's hope it's well worth the ride because this could get messy. You can check it out on VOD from the 13th. I've spoken a lot about Monolith recently. It's an effective horror sci-fi mystery that follows a journalist who finds herself working for a conspiracy podcast after a scandal has turned her life upside down. As she searches for an appealing story, she comes across a mysterious phenomena that's as strange as it is sinister. This is an Australian film that was released here last year, but it's finally having its wide release online. So if you didn't get a chance, I do think a lot of you will really like this one. It comes out on February 16th. Action thriller No Way Up is a new survivor flick that's bound to disturb those with a fear of flying and the deep sea, because in this indie film, both horrors meet, as a group of passengers on a commercial flight must work together when their plane crashes into the Pacific Ocean. It does not look like the most slickest film, but I thought it might satisfy some of you who really enjoy this type of fight for survival film. Brace yourself for impact. This one is streaming on VOD platforms from the 16th. New Apple Plus sci-fi thriller Constellation is out this month. It stars Noomi Rapace, and the series is about Jo, who returns to the Earth after a disaster in space and discovers that there are missing pieces in her life. So she sets out to expose the truth about the hidden secrets of space travel, hoping to recover what she has lost. This one sounds super interesting, and on the 21st, the first batch of 3 episodes will be released, followed by a weekly release schedule for the subsequent episodes. Check this one out on Apple Plus. History of Evil is a new Shudder original film. The horror is set in the near future, where America is crippled by war and corruption, as we watch ordinary citizens unite as the resistance. We follow one member of this group who escapes a political prison and reunites with her family, seeking refuge in a remote safe house. However, the tale takes a sinister turn when the dark history of the house begins to unravel. This is a very interesting setting for what looks to be a supernatural kind of haunting film, but I could be completely wrong with that. There has to be a reason why it's so dystopian. Mark your calendars for its streaming premiere on Friday, February 23rd. The Walking Dead might be over, but the spin-offs just keep coming. Introducing The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, which claims to be a love story between Rick and Michonne. This series was originally planned to be an AMC original film for television, and then later it was announced it would be a trilogy film series with a wide theatrical release. Imagine that, Walking Dead on the big screen. But what ended up happening was it turned into this miniseries, which makes this the 6th spin-off and overall 7th TV series in the Walking Dead franchise. This 6-episode miniseries starts on the 25th on AMC and AMC Plus, and in Australia you'll be able to find it on Stan. And South Korean horror fans, I did not forget about you. We have Dr. Sun and Lost Talisman. In this film, we follow the story of a fake exorcist who is commissioned for the disturbing case of a girl who is possessed, drawing him into a series of unexplainable events that challenge his beliefs and revives childhood horrors that he's tried to forget. This one had a cinema release last year in some countries, but it's finally hitting digital and DVD this month on the 27th. What are you guys gonna watch this month? Let me know down below. What can't you wait for? And if there's anything that's not on this list, be sure to add it. And don't forget, if you do want to check out my 40 anticipated films for this year, you can see that here. And then also, if you want to check out everything I watched in January, I have a wrap up ready for you to go with lots of recommendations. Stay safe and stay spooky.